The road races are the blue ribbon event for each category of the national championships. For the under-23s, it's a chance to get on the radar of the world's biggest teams. With Australian cycling's growing reputation, teams from around the globe will be watching. In the elite women's race, Gracie Alvin is aiming for a hat-trick to equal the record of the great Kathy Watts. For her Orica AIS team, it's a crucial result. This is the last race of the championships for the women, and Australia's biggest team is yet to win a gold medal. Could they possibly go home empty-handed? There's a long list of contenders. The green and gold rush is on in Buninyong. Hello and welcome to Saturday. It's the day of the road races. We've got the under-23 men and the elite women as well in Buninyong, where it's a challenging course. I'm Matt Keenan, joined by Phil Liggett and Rochelle Gilmore. Rochelle, we're looking for a little bit of history in the women's as Gracie Elvin's aiming for number 3 to join the great Kathy Watt.
Well, I think it puts a lot of pressure on Gracie Elvin today because she has won those 2 former national championships. So I think the Orica team, it'll be interesting to see, will they back her as a leader or will they go for another tactic with the numbers that they've got?
They have got a few cards to play, but they're -1. Katrin Garfoot is a non-starter.
Yeah, and teamwork might be very, very important on this course today. There is, of course, also Tiff Cromwell, and I rather fancy Tiff. She was Australian Women's Cyclist of the Year last year, and this is a course for her, especially in these weather conditions.
And she's been close a few times as well, but let's not forget about the woman that won the Subaru National Road Series last year, Ruth Corset. She could win. Mother of 2, she's strong.
She's definitely strong, and I think there's a few names in there that we haven't seen much of, like Rachel Nayland. She's one that we haven't heard much of, and Peter Mullins has been going fantastic. She doesn't put pressure on herself for a title at the National Championship, but I think Ruth Corset, Rachel Nayland, they're names to watch.
And we've got the under-23 men to start it all off, where Chris Hamilton's aiming to do the Criterium Road Race double, while Miles Scottson's trying to do it with the time trial and the road race. Jack Haig and Robert Powell, they're amongst the 2 big favourites. Phil, this is where we get a chance to look at the future.
Yes, it is, and Robert Power is a guy for the future. But hey, we were right when we picked Chris Hamilton to win the Criterium, and this boy's on good form.
Under 23s though, there's always a wild card. Let's take a look at the course. It's pretty straightforward. That doesn't make it any less difficult. It is either uphill or downhill. Starting in the heart of Buninyong, it's then a quick left-hand turn onto the Midland Highway. That's where they go through the feed zone before turning onto Mount Buninyong Road. At the top, it doesn't start descending straight away. It's then into Yankee Flat Road, Gear Avenue, Fiskin Road, the quick descent as they return towards Geelong Road, and then the descent down through to the finish line. 10.2 kilometres per lap. 130 starters for the under-23 men. Oscar Stevenson signs on. They do a total of 13 laps. It's 132.6 kilometres. Jesse Kerrison riding with the BMC development squad. He's got big hopes for season 2015, and this is where they start. For Chris Hamilton, it's already off to a good start, a gold medal in the Criterium. Brad McGee, pensive, the coach of the New South Wales Institute of Sport. Robbie Power, he's one of the favourites, and before the race got underway, he caught up with Scott McGrory.
Okay, Rob, you are the number 1 seed, so to speak, for this race. Second last year. How are you feeling? You're confident about today's race?
I think it's going to be a tough race today. The conditions are going to make it tough. A bit of wind's picking up. It's going to be cold. It's going to be a tough race, I think. But yeah, I'd like to give it a shot. I mean, there's a lot of good bike riders here today, so it's going to be tough.
Everyone's ultra nervous coming into this race. It's a race that's quite special to everyone because you get a nice jersey afterwards that you wear for the rest of the year.
Jack Haig, he puts it into context. There is a lot at stake. And for Haig, this is his last chance before he leaves the under-23 category and he joins the elites as a member of the Orica Green Edge team. Phil, this is the chance to see the rising stars. Always anxious at the beginning. The shortest race for the standard of some of these guys, which always ensures an aggressive one.
Yes, they do, and it's because you've got 13 times up the Midland Highway into the base of Mount Buninyong. Gets a little bit tiring after a couple of hours, and the riders are going to be sensible here as they turn onto the mountain approach.
Nicholas Maddock it was who just swung off from the front after having done a turn of pace as they make the turn, and now the first rider to attack, it's Jason Lee from Bendigo. This is as they approach the harder part of the climb. They're onto Mount Buninyong.
Look over his shoulder, see if anybody's coming out to play at the moment. Nobody is. Just looking here at George Tansley, the South Australian.
Well, George Tansley, he will know league reasonably well as Tansley, although he now races under a South Australian licence. He's originally from Bendigo. And this is a strong group now, Phil, that's starting to form at the front.
Tell you what, that attack there by Jason Lee has brought quite a few riders out here, because I think there's around about 20 riders getting together in that breakaway. Serious move so early on.
And a serious accident in the feed zone. There was a silly move by trying to throw the water bottle over the top, and it's caused a crash.
Yes, and the man that's gone down there, Jason Lee, was the rider who started this move. Aidan Bowe is the other rider who's gone down, and that's how it happened. He's thrown the bottle and then touched the wheel of the rider nearest to him.
They often train together in Bendigo, so there'll be some words next time at the cafe. Losing contact, this is Alexander Porter, one of the many South Australians in the group, and he's losing contact on the descent.
Yes, and we've also lost with a puncture on the previous lap there, Callum Scottson. And up here as well is Miles Scottson, so he's lost his brother there earlier on, and that's a shame. Good firepower gone from this breakaway. This breakaway is thinning down by the kilometre.
It's 1 minute and 50 seconds their advantage. At one point it was out to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But number 303, that is Miles Scottson, the winner of the individual time trial. Not the sort of rider you can afford to give too much of an advantage to.
Well, this group, which was originally started by Jason Lee, it swelled up to 11 and is now being grossly reduced here as the peloton are beginning to fight back, and they're also thinning out.
They're back on Mount Buninyong. The reaction is starting to come. Nearest the camera in the black colours, that's Robert Power. The silver medal 1 year ago, the big favourite. He's starting to close in.
If you're looking for something to do with a family this summer, Ballarat certainly has a lot to offer. There's the Ballarat Wildlife Park, where you can feed the animals. The world-famous Sovereign Hill, which brings Gold Rush history back to life. And Ballarat's two newest attractions, Cryal Castle, a medieval-themed adventure park, and the Museum of Australian Democracy at Eureka.
Our breakaway group of 5 now. 2 riders from Charlton Mason. Dave Edwards along with Daniel Fitter. Ben O'Connor, the Western Australian, is here. And number 417, George Tansley, looks as if he's about to surrender as Miles Scottson sits in second position as they approach the climb once again onto the Midland Highway.
Yes, Tansley was dangling there and he just gave a loud shout half a kilometre out and sat up as he came through that line. So he's gone. There's 4 of them left as the lead pack here on the top of the climb are still chasing. These are the 4 here now. Daniel Fitter just checking out where his teammate is. Dave Edwards tagged on the back here. Scottson is setting the pace and looking very sharp, the man who won the under-23 time trial title just 48 hours ago.
And he continues to eliminate his rivals. Ben O'Connor in the green is gone. So too Dave Edwards. The young man Daniel Fitter, a junior world champion last year. First year up in the under-23s. He's hanging on tightly, but only just.
You get a close look at his face, Matt, and you see he's really trying hard to hang on here. But Scottson, this is the left turn. Now, people are saying that if Scottson wants to win this race, he must go alone to the finish. Well, this is the penultimate climb up to Mount Buninyong. They're saying you've got a lead of 2 minutes 10. Now, that's over the main field, and there he goes. This is the last possible moment of an attack, but he's setting himself a lap and a half if he's going from here.
The body language, it was a slow reaction from Fitter, and Miles Scottson is looking far crisper. He is into that rhythm that took him to gold in the individual time trial. He's now got an individual time trial of a different kind.
Superb piece of riding here. Fitter looking down, just hoping those legs will spin wildly to the top of this climb. Once over the top, there's a series of descents down to the finish, and he might get back. But the pressure is on now, and there's a problem here at the back. Mitchell Cooper with a flat tyre.
He's one of the teammates of Dan Fitter, I should say, who's in the front group. It's Cooper who's chasing. Scottson is across the top. The South Australians, they have an extraordinary record in the under-23 race of doing the time trial and the road race double. Jack Bobridge has done it, Rowan Dennis has done it, Scottson is on target to do it.
A world champion on a 250-metre track, but this is a 10.2-kilometre track. There's a reaction coming now. The field are in desperate mode.
It's Jack Haig who is responding. Nicholas Schultz is on his wheel. The peloton is splintering. They're racing for the minor placings because Scottson has got it within his grasp.
Now the pace for him will be full on. He'll use his time trialing ability. They're reorganizing here. They're trying to break this group up, but they're clawing their way back. It's still a sizable group. That as he takes the belt. This is Scotson. 1 lap to go as he goes through. Fitter is still out front on his own, and still trailing third and alone is Dave Edwards. Then there's a group of about 6 trying to reach them all.
He has a 20-second lead on Fitter. It's another 20 seconds back to Dave Edwards, who is chasing. Then the main peloton are more than 1 minute behind. Miles Scotson, from what we saw on Thursday, he just needs to keep doing what he's been doing thus far throughout 2015. Here comes the chase.
They're looking over. They're still fighting each other here rather than getting on with the job to try and reach Scotson. They will see Scotson on the climb when they make the left-hand turn here. They'll look up the Midland Highway.
Bell lap, we see Freddie Ovett is in that group. So too Robert Power, bridging across the top of the climb as he heads past the Hell's 500 crew. It is Miles Scotson. He sees the Subaru Arch for the last time. 1 lap to go, well, a half a lap to go at this point.
Well, once we get down this little drop here, we'll see the 5 kilometre board, the chase behind, which is sweeping up Fitter. Edwards has already been caught as we now break for the line.
Finally, we start to see the fatigue. He's been smooth all day long. He's got every right to look so exhausted.
This is the moment he knows now. Once over the top here, 5 and a bit kilometres to go, and this is the catch of Fitter, I think.
This is Fitter about to be caught. It doesn't seem quite fair, does it, with the gallant ride that he's put in. And it's Robert Power who's doing the damage with Schultz behind him.
Well, he's left himself just about 13 kilometres to close that gap. We are 7 from the finish line this time around. This man now can get into time trial mode and drive all the way to the finish.
But he can't afford to relax because it is a strong group that is closing down. Fitter, he's seen how quickly that advantage can disappear. Final last little bit of encouragement, perhaps from the Chief Commissaire. Here comes the chase. It's Kavanagh from Queensland. He's keeping company with Angus Lyons.
But they're continually regrouping here. This man knows now as he swings onto Warren Heap. He's heading down towards the finish. 2 kilometres to go. We are hearing that the gap is just about 1,000 metres between this man and the immediate chase. He knows they can't close a kilometre on him, not in the last straight. Here he comes. He's going to enjoy the moment. He's done the double. Last man to do this was Rowan Dennis.
And he was a South Australian as well. What a glorious moment for Miles Scotson, time trial and road race champion of Australia for the under-23s.
Well, when he finished the time trial 48 hours ago, he gave a scream that would have woken up the whole of Ballarat. Now he's a little bit more subdued, but equally as excited.
How much of a celebration will it be for the South Australians? This is Edmondson, Donoghue in his slipstream, but he can't challenge. It's a 1-2 for the South Australians. Edmondson gets the silver, Alistair Donoghue the bronze. And Edmondson celebrates, he gives a high five. It's a day of celebration, and Mum has every right to be just a little bit emotional.
The 2 South Australians here are congratulating each other. It was a perfect double, that one. This was the move that came. He was well clear, a kilometre to go. He knew they couldn't catch the new under-23 national time trial champion in the last 600 metres. And here he is with Scott McGrory.
I tell you, I would have liked to take the whole bunch and get everyone be up there in the top 10 because everyone rode superb. But I had one thing on my mind, and that was to win the race, and I went with 2 to go. And the other guys got swallowed up, which is disappointing because everyone rode well, like we all committed. But I had one thing on my mind, as I said, and that was to win the bike race.
We had a pretty good team meeting last night, and we knew we had to come out here and do something special. So to be able to come out here and to go 1-2 with Sassy and letting Miles win, pretty unbelievable day for us.
Oh, I don't want to be too cliche, Scott, but it feels really good. Like I've been planning for this event for a few months now, and I've built it up in my head, and I've envisaged myself crossing the line first. So it's never like ideal to not come away with what you really wanted, but I'm 3rd in the under-23s in Australia, and with such a class field, I really couldn't ask for much more.
The winning move was, first of all, getting to that breakaway. Once I knew that we had a gap, and it went out to 3 minutes, thought this is it. And then 2 to go, went 100% up the climb, and I have to admit the atmosphere at the top of the climb for an under-23 race was pretty good. It was pretty loud, and that really spurred me on.
Sprint classification, that also went to Miles Scottson ahead of George Tansley and Alexander Edmondson in 3rd position. King of the Mountains jersey, that was taken out by Sam Hill. Dan Fitter was in 2nd spot, Miles Scottson in 3rd. The men from the breakaway. 3rd place, the bronze medal, that went to Alistair Donoghue, the Victorian, who also happens to be a paracyclist world champion. Alex Edmondson is a multiple world champion on the track. He gets a silver medal on the road. As Miles Scottson, for the 2nd time this week, he steps out as the Australian champion. Further down the list, it was Ryan Kavanagh in 4th position. Nicholas Schiltz was in 5th place, as Dan Fitter bravely held on to 6th ahead of Freddie Ovett. The elite women's race, that's not far away. Rochelle Gilmore will be joining Phil Liggett. But before we get to the women, after the break, Richie Port, one of the favourites for the elite men's road race on Sunday. He's already won the time trial, and he also win the road race.
The village of Buninyong is nestled in the hills just outside Ballarat on the Midland Highway towards Geelong. On weekends you'll find farmers' markets overflowing with local produce, local winemakers showcasing their drops, and quirky cafes housed in Gold Rush era buildings. Like many of the region's Gold Rush era villages, the town has undergone a recent renaissance. These wide tree-lined streets and boulevards now house funky restaurants, shops and cafes. And after the under-23 men's race, just about an hour's elapsed, and now it's time for the elite women's race, over 102 kilometres, 10 circuits of the course. And while the women get ready, one man dreaming of 24 hours hence is Richie Port. He's never won the national road title.
First time I raced this one was 2008, I think, and ended up 4th on the day, wild card into the Tour Down Under, which then was the first time it was a Pro Tour race, so rode the national team in the first Pro Tour race outside of Europe. It was sort of where I first sort of got noticed, so, you know, pretty good memories of the Buninyong course.
He's been a friend for a long period of time, and he gives back a lot to cycling, and certainly for a lot of young guys in our team. You know, they look up to him. He's a down-to-earth guy, and I think that it's a pleasure to have him back every year.
He's given his all today.
Obviously, cycling's grown in popularity around Australia the last few years. You know, guys like Cadell and Simon, and I think last year, every time up that hill, or any year to be honest, the barbecues are out and the wet area's in full swing, and it's I mean, it's a true championship course.
What an outstanding performance.
Usually the best guy wins on it. It's there's nowhere to hide out there. Anybody that wins on it's deserving.
4 great bike riders together.
Richie Port goes early. Gerrans gets into his slipstream.
It's a course that we saw last year that, you know, probably the 3 best riders, well not probably, most definitely the 3 best riders got around, and they went 1, 2, 3.
And it looks as though the famous kicker Simon Gerrans gives it to Orica Greenedge.
Obviously when Simon went, it was quite impressive, but then Cameron Meyer was there too, which, you know, he was flying as well, but you know, to be on the podium with Simon and Cadell was you know, a dream podium for me. Cadell's one of the biggest of them all, the Tour de France, and you know, it's quite amazing what he's done for the sport in the last few years, and you know, we're going to miss him, but you know, it's up to the next crop to step up and you know, carry on what he started. The depth in Australian cycling, it's not just the Pro Tour riders, it's also the NRS guys. I mean, there's plenty of guys that are riding domestically in Australia that can win on the Buninyong course as well. It's exciting for Australian cycling that, you know, there's a heap of guys here that could easily be on big European teams as well.
It's a hard one, nationals every year. You always hope that the best rider wins, but it's one of these races where it's a numbers game. You don't ride Tour de France with 3 in one team and 20 in another, so Richie needs a fair bit of luck as well.
I'm in good form. You know, I think with a little bit of luck, you know, I think I could be up there. But it's not that easy. It's a tactical game as well, and you know, I've got one teammate, Nathan Earl. here to help. It's an open race, I'm sure is.
The fairy tale scenario would be Port versus Evans up the climb the last time.
Yeah, I mean that would be a fairy tale, and you know, it'd be nice to unload the old fella just at the bottom near the wet area, I think.
Emotionally, I do have a fair bit of attachment with Richie because he's the first guy with our team to make the World Tour. So yeah, that's always going to affect me a bit more personally. But at the end of the day, if Avanti can't win, yeah, of course, Richie.
What would it mean to you to go to the Tour of Italy, go to any of the races in Europe this year with that green and gold jersey on your shoulders?
It'd be incredible. I think from memory, the last time that jersey was shown off in the high mountains is probably Matthew Lloyd. So to have it in the high mountains of a Giro or a Tour or something like that, I think it'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yes, the dream continues for Richie Port. We'll know more about that tomorrow. But right now, the women, 74 of them, Rochelle, have come to the start.
Well, I've been very excited about today's race. I could barely sleep last night, and I think that's because there's no absolute standout favourite.
An Advance Australia Fair sung by 16-year-old Jessica Monk. Well, let's hear now from some of the favourites before the girls get underway.
Peter Mullins is the name on a lot of the riders' list today. You've been so aggressive and so strong in recent days, weeks. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I felt strong in those criteriums because they're just criteriums, and today we race up a mountain 10 times. So I think, although I've been feeling good in those races, I really don't know what this race is going to bring. I haven't really been doing that much endurance, but hopefully I can get through 3 hours. I've never been lead bunch here before. I always seem to underperform at the Road Nationals, so hopefully this is the year that I can tick it off the list.
Tiff, all the fine tuning has been done, even the nails. You're set to go for the race?
100%. I'm serious when I've done my nails because it's become a bit of a tradition. Bakers didn't have my nails done, my head wasn't there, my head's on now. And what better way to celebrate than the first race for Velocio SRAM with Velocio SRAM branded nails.
You love this course. It's a tough rider's course. You're a tough rider. You're going to have another real crack today.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very tough course. It's a race of attrition. I've raced it plenty of times. I've made plenty of mistakes in this course as well. I'm hoping I can finally fix those mistakes and get 100% right today, have the luck and, see if we can get the first win for the team for 2015.
Gracie, you know how to win on this course. You've done it a couple of times. What are you going to do today?
Yeah, the first time I won it was a little bit of a surprise to myself and everybody else. It was in a small group, and then last year was in a bunch sprint. So I think I'm coming into this season fitter than I've ever been, but there's more pressure on me and I'm putting more pressure on myself. And there's some also other girls here in really good shape as well. So I'm going to have to just play it a little bit conservatively, I think, today. And I've got 2 other really strong teammates and they're going to help me a lot. And I'm really happy if they can win the race as well. So we've really got that strength in numbers today, even though we're only 3. We're really strong together.
Well, huge pressure on Gracie Elvin there, Rochelle, and now the women all set to face up to a very difficult course here.
Yeah, I think it is a very, very difficult national championship. These sprinters in the race, they don't rate themselves on this type of course. They don't believe they can get around it, so it's going to be a very tough day.
I suspect a cautious start as they swing left now onto the Midland Highway for the first time of 10 ascents. They'd like to get one under the belt first to find out how they're going on. Our bike cam is on the saddle, by the way, of Chloe Hosking, and she'll get the best view of those who are following her today, as will we indeed. Gracie Elvin, she's got plenty on her mind as she goes up the hill for the first time.
There's been a lot of talk about Gracie Elvin. It would be fabulous to see her win today, having won the last 2 years. 2 years in a row is exceptional, but if she could pull that off a 3rd year in a row, that would be so fantastic.
And she would indeed emulate the legendary Kathy Watt, who incidentally follows this race as a photographer on a motorbike today. Well, we're all looking up to the women today as they head out on the opening lap. Ballarat's picturesque Lake Wendouree is famed for its recreational opportunities and a chance to get up close with nature. Right next to the lake is Ballarat's beautiful Botanic Gardens. A summer highlight is Summer Sundays concert series, held every Sunday throughout January. The Ballarat Beer Festival, that's coming up, and is one of the great attractions on Saturday the 24th of January. Welcome back with the elite women's road race here now, and right on the front is Carly Taylor. The peloton still together.
Well, here goes Amanda Spratt from the Orica AIS team. We said that they were going to be aggressive because they've got three very strong riders in this race with Gracie Elvin and Lizzie Williams. Everyone's talking about what Orica AIS will do to break this up today.
Well, Spratt is making this move for Orica Greenedge 25 kilometres into the 102 kilometre race. And there's no takers at the moment. Now, she is a past road race champion, Spratt, and well, I think she's trying to soften this up for Gracie Elvin.
Absolutely, that would have been the team tactic today, but the individual riders in the peloton, the really strong riders like Carly Taylor, Rach Nayland, Peter Mullins, they would have wanted to be on every move of the Orica AIS, so they're not put in a situation like this where one of the Orica AIS girls are up the road and they're forced to chase.
So Spratt settling in here. Very good track rider in her early days, and she swings left here into Fiskin.
Well, Phil, she also comes from a BMX background, so she's going to love this section of the course. It's a very fast, technical, downhill section.
Well, we're heading into town again now. This will take us out onto lap number 4 of 10, and she's prizing open a lead here. Now, she's still in sight of the chase. She's got just 30 seconds, and the peloton themselves have regrouped here. It's still quite a big field.
Well, I think they'll just be letting her stay out there for a little bit. They wouldn't want to have let this go, but now that it's out there, they're just controlling it. So the individuals in the race will be doing a little bit, sharing the work around, just keeping her in sight. And I think we can expect an explosion from the peloton pretty soon.
Well, this is exactly where it would happen, on the long climb of the Midland Highway. Now, unofficially, this is not part of the climb, but of course it's all uphill. The climb officially doesn't start till they turn left and head up towards the top of Mount Buninyong.
Well,
and we're cheers for Mummy here.
I was going to say, Phil, I can tell you that I've ridden this course quite a few times. I raced it at the National Championship, and I will definitely call this section of the course a hill.
And this is actually the very top of the hill. There's no dispute over this, and she's still holding on here. In fact, she's pulling out a little bit of a lead as she goes under the Subaru King of the Mountains banner. More points for that competition, and if she stays away for a few laps, she'll make that a very own. Now, Peter Mullins comes up to the front.
Well, Peter Mullins coming into this race with fine form. She won one of the Bay Cycling Classic Series races last week, and a lot of confidence from that. She's the first time I heard her on the start line say, "I'm feeling good for today."
Now, she's settling in very well here, and this is quite a show of strength by Amanda Spratt because she's actually pulling away. She had 30 seconds at the start of the lap. She seems very conscious to keep looking over her shoulder, but the gap is now out to over a minute.
Well, she's definitely a very good tactical rider, and one of the captains on the road for the Orica AIS team when they race in Europe. She's able to read a race really well, so she'll know exactly what's going on out there. She's out of sight, you can see there now, but applying a lot of pressure to the peloton and putting Gracie Elvin in a good position.
Peeking out of the bike cam here, which is on the saddle of Chloe Hosking, looking at the riders coming down at the drop there, but this young woman here is heading back down, and she is looking very powerful just now.
She looks comfortable and she looks confident. She just looks like she's in her element here. She's out in front. Looks like she expected to be out there today, Phil.
I think it's part of the plan. There's only 3 Orica Greenedge women riding, and in fact the one favourite is Gracie Elvin. She's always in the first 6 or 7 when we go back to the main field here, but there she is tucked up to the left in the white jersey, just passing through picture, and she'll be very pleased with the attack here by her teammate.
We see in second wheel, this is Bridie O'Donnell on the front. Second wheel, the other Orica AIS rider we haven't mentioned yet, Lizzie Williams, a very fast finisher. So their tactic might be Amanda Spratt to soften up the peloton, Gracie Elvin ready to pounce when that comes back, and then Lizzie Williams sitting in waiting for a sprint.
And more importantly, perhaps the promise of the heavy rain has not come. In fact, the opposite is happening, but so too is the peloton closing in.
This is Shara Gillow from the Rabobank team. She did ride for the Orica AIS team in the past years, but she's just made the switch to the Dutch Rabobank team, and she's the one that's taken up that chase and pulled it back together.
Well, she got the points at the top of the Subaru King of the Mountains, but it's all over now. Amanda Spratt has been caught after 7.5 laps gone. The race once again is full on now as to see who will be next to try and make a move. The historical villages surrounding Ballarat are a real treasure. Just 10 minutes away, Creswick's main street is busting with great cafes. A must-see is the Forest Resort with a world-class championship golf course. There's fishing, vineyards, amazing food. Another gem is Buninyong, a small village just out of the regional city of Ballarat, well known for its glorious Gold Rush era architecture and magnificent streetscapes. Host to this year's individual time trial and road race. Just on 76 kilometres gone of the 102, and can you believe this? Because Amanda Spratt is trying to go away alone again.
Well, she has to do something, Phil. You can see there Chloe Hosking from the Wiggle Honda team. She's still in the peloton, a pure sprinter. They will not want to go to the finish with the likes of Chloe Hosking and Kimberly Wells still in the peloton.
Well, that bunch, originally some 74 riders, is down now to about 45 riders here. And Spratt, who spent quite a number of laps in the lead, is now 4 kilometres from the end of lap number 8. 2 laps to go when she gets down to the bottom.
Well, she certainly impressed me with her form here, Phil. It's early season for these European campaigners, and she has come into this with fine form. This is Bridie O'Donnell. This is a sensational ride by Bridie as well, having a real go to get across to Amanda Spratt.
Well, Bridie O'Donnell returned to form in the time trial with the silver medal there. And she's now using that talent again to try and reach here Amanda Spratt. 500 metres from the end of this lap, 2 laps to go.
Well, I think that she'll work with Amanda Spratt when she gets there. She's just shaking her head to more water. She's happy with what she's got. But she said before the race, I'm going to be racing for Ruth Corset out there today, a fellow teammate. She wants to make it hard and set Ruth up for that attack on the final lap.
Well, back onto the Midland Highway now. As we go into the last 2 laps here, more reaction coming from the field here.
That was Tessa Fabry making the move to go across to that. She says that that's dangerous. I want to be with that. So she's having a good ride today too. Very, very strong this close to the finish.
Well, the Victorian showing herself here right at the moment as she starts off. She finished 33rd last time around in this event.
Well, she's only been riding for less than 2 years, Phil, so it's a remarkable effort. She's gone across to Amanda Spratt and Bridie O'Donnell. So if they work well together, it might be tough to bring back.
And all of the time, this is deflecting attention to Gracie Elvin, who's still back in that big pack behind. In this group here, being led at the moment by the time trial champion, Charlotte Gillow.
That was a powerful attack, Rach Nayland. They won't want to let this go. She's one of the favourites today, and that's a steep part of the climb. Rach Nayland is really giving this to them. She's caught Bridie O'Donnell. Amanda Spratt will be next. She'll be able to catch her for sure on this part of the climb. A very, very dangerous rider.
Well, they jumped on her straight away, Rochelle, because they're on the right here is Charlotte Gillow, and they've brought her back. There's Spratt also back now. And then a counter-attack, and this is an immediate attack on the climb by Peter Mullins. Quickly reaction coming from Gillow.
Well, Gillow and Ruth Corset and Rach Nayland, this is a really, really good move. There's Tessa Fabry, so she's been caught as well. But Peter Mullins, she has got form.
Well, Mullins driving hard there, but there's plenty of company alongside her too. We've got Charlotte Gillow on the right too, as she now takes up the running here. But the pressure's on. These are the champions elect here as they all mass together at the front. That big peloton has been blown away now. The cream has come to the top. This is Rachel Nayland, second in the World Road Race Championship in Holland back in 2012. She's a serious danger here.
Well, Phil, she's had a troubled couple of years with injury, and she's been searching for that pro contract for 2015. Not yet signed a contract, but I can tell you, if she gets the Australian National Champs jersey today, her phone will be ringing this evening.
Checkbooks will be open. That's Peter Mullins trying to reach her, and there's no reaction coming from the field, as small as it is. Gracie Elvin still sitting in this field, watching and waiting, but 2 serious contenders have decided the time is now.
Well, Gracie Elvin's going to have to do something. She won't be able to hesitate on this move, Phil, because Rach Nayland and Peter Mullins, possibly the 2 best climbers and most fit bike riders in this race.
Well, Rachel Nayland has never won at the Australian Championship. She's had a bronze medal. Here comes the bridge now. As we see, Peter Mullins has spotted this attack 5 kilometres from the end of the lap. The bell will await as a little flick of the elbow there, a little bit early for Rachel Nayland to say, come on through and set the pace, Peter. She's only just joined her.
Well, Peter's keen to set the pace. She came all the way across and she's straight on the front. She'll have an interest to really push and drive this break to the finish.
2 riders clear, and many will say the favourites are still back in the chase. It's the last lap for the women as they come to the bell here now, and these two big names in Australian women's cycling are on the attack. Rachel Neylan on the front, driving on. She's been joined by Peter Mullins. They're just 10 kilometres from the end.
Well, I got to say, Phil, I think this breakaway is going to succeed because these two women can climb very, very well. Peter doesn't rate herself as a climber. In fact, she doesn't rate herself as a road rider. But in my opinion, one of the best road riders in the world.
Well, I would agree. I think every time we see Peter Mullins, she's pulling out something very, very special. And here she is now. She's crossed the gap up to Rachel Neylan. That was a half a lap ago, 3/4 of a lap ago now. As they come up the climb here, they're turning left up Buninyong Mountain for the last time. Neylan is a good climber. She came up the Coburg when she got a second place in the World Championship in 2012. So this climb will hold no fears for her.
Well, Ashara Gillow putting the chase down with Ruth Corset on the wheel and Lauren Kitchen. Gracie Elvin looks like she's just hanging on there. 27-second gap. Well, Bradley McGee, he wasn't wrong. He's the coach of Rach Neylan, and he said he has prepared her very, very well. No mishaps, no illnesses, no injuries for the last couple of months.
And this is very, very special to Rachel Neylan. She tries to impress people she hopes will sign her for the rest of this year. But now there's a complete counter move coming here from the field. This is an attack by Janelle Crooks here, who's one of the under-23 girls tucked up there. There's about 4 under-23 riders in that leading group, having a great day out, but these two at the front are coming to the top of the Subaru Mountains for the last time, and then basically it's all downhill to the finish. They're 5.5 kilometres from home, and just look at the rolling shoulders of Peter Mullins as she hangs on to Rachel Neylan.
Well, Rach Neylan, probably the better climber, and I'm very, very surprised that she just drove the pace up that climb instead of doing attacks, because that would have been her moment to shake Peter Mullins. I don't think from this point she can shake Peter Mullins, and Peter Mullins will start to lick her lips at this point because she is a very fast sprinter.
But yes, that maybe she should have watched what Miles Scottson did at that very point in the earlier race. He jumped with a lap and a half to go and he won alone. Rachel Neylan will now have a problem there with Peter Mullins, and this here is Shara Gillow, who is also trying to break away from the rest.
Well, she's just rode the rest of those riders off her wheel, Phil. It looks like she just drove it the hardest she possibly could to the top, and she's going to try and time trial across to these two riders, and they'll be in trouble if she gets there. If anyone can do it, she's won the National Time Trial Championship a couple of days ago. She is capable.
And she won that title for the 4th time in 5 years, and she's going to try and cross that gap, but you know there is a gap there, measurable now. And these two riders are still sharing the pace. They've no time left to finesse. They've got to help each other until they line up for the sprint.
Well, it looks like they're taking even turns here. They're both putting in. It means they both want to get to the finish. Peter's just shaking her head. She wants a little bit more help, but she'd be the one that has the most interest for this to succeed because she's got a handy sprint, and if they can get to the finish before Shara Gillow can possibly get across, then Peter Mullins will be a sure bet for the sprint.
The long straight road of Gear Avenue here before they turn left into Fiskin Avenue. She can see the two front runners up there, but can Gillow get across to them? They've gone into Fiskin now, through the trees, through the twist, down to the bottom road, into Warren Heap. They'll line up for the finish. Shara Gillow is on the time trial of her life here, but I don't think she's closing in anything like quick enough.
Well, that's the last corner to the finish, Phil. 2 kilometres to go. She's still 20 seconds behind. I think these two riders are going to make it to the finish.
And everybody else is out of it for sure because they're over a minute back here. Now Rachel Neylan has tried to catch Peter Mullins, hopping here with a terrific effort. And what a show of power here because Mullins is struggling to regain her.
Well, that was a very, very strong move by Rach Neylan, but now they've got the finish in sight. Peter Mullins, she's in the prime position to take this title.
Well, Mullins has come back at the most crucial moment. She's waiting. She's 200 metres from the finish. And in fact, as Rachel Neylan looks to her right, Mullins sees the door open and she has gone now. Rachel Neylan, I think, the best she can hope for is to hold on. The woman who won the under-23 title in 2009 has now made it the title in 2015. Peter Mullins has won.
She's being congratulated there by her sponsor Shram, her partner Jared, her biggest supporter, and also her training partner Chris and her coach.
And crossing the line 3rd place, 22 seconds has gone by, is Shara Gillow. She gets her first road medal. It's a bronze for her. But these two stole the show.
two of the classiest bike riders in Australia. Well, here's the replay. That was a powerful sprint by Peter Mullins. Rachel Nayland will ask herself, could I do anything different? But Peter Mullins, she has a very, very strong kick on her.
Silver medal in the criterium and the gold here in Buninyong.
I just wanted it to be an aggressive race, and for the first couple of laps it was, and then the pace died down a bit, and I wasn't really that happy about that. I didn't want to take everyone to the finish line with me, and like I said, I saw an opportunity, and I really can't believe it. I mean, of all the national titles, I'm a mountain biker, but I would still prefer to win this one. So it's a bit ironic because this is supposed to be my only road race for the year. And now that I've won the stripes, I might have to change my plans.
I know Peter's in really good form, and I knew that if we were together, we'd be able to stay away. I did a fair bit of work up the climb, and you know, I think I probably paid for that in the sprint in the final. You know, she's a classy bike rider, and full credit to Peter. She had a great ride, and I'm really, really happy with my silver medal.
So the winning move was pretty much with a lap and a half to go. Rach kicked off the bunch and no one was really doing all that much, and I just thought, now's the time. I think I can bridge across to her, and I knew we'd be a pretty strong duo, and yeah, and I think that was really it. I mean, the sprint's the sprint, but I think the winning move, a lap and a half to go when I went across to Rach.
And there was a nice double two for 20-year-old Shannon Mulseed. She won the criterium. She also won the under-23 race here. In second place was Alexander Nichols. There is the result of the Jayco Women's Sprint Ace. Peter Mullins winning that ahead of Amanda Spratt. And also the Subaru Women's Queen of the Mountain after a long breakaway was Amanda Spratt. While Shara Gillow here, riding in her Rabobank colours, she crossed the line in third place. And Rachel Nayland, well, 32 years of age, she was third in 2012. She's second this time around, the champion being Peter Mullins, who was the under-23 champion 6 years ago. Shara Gillow getting third place, and Tessa Fabry had a great ride for fourth. Tiff Cromwell completing top 10, and Gracie Elvin, by the way, she finished 22nd.
An incredible day of racing. Let's start with the women first. Peter Mullins, a mountain biker. She conquers Mount Buninyong. She's the queen of the national championships.
Well, I'll tell you a little secret, because yesterday Peter Mullins actually came to where I was staying, and as she came into the room, I said, stand to attention, everyone. The champion has just walked in the room. But that was 24 hours too soon. She rode superbly.
It's her 6th Australian title, her 5th as a cyclist. She's won a running marathon title as a 13-year-old. She's diverse, but what does she do next? Rio on the dirt, mountain bike, stick with it?
She has a big decision to make. I mean, she rode for Wiggle and she was making progress as a road cyclist, then wanted to become a mountain biker. Now she's proved she can do both. I don't think I'd like to make a decision right now.
And good to see Rachel Nayland back, and Shara Gillow. She closes out what was a great championships for her. In the under-23 men, Miles Scottson, he does the double, the time trial and the road race, and he did it in style.
Very much so, and he went up and joined his brother in the breakaway, don't forget. And sadly, his brother had a flat tyre, which was rather a shame because it lost some firepower in the breakaway. He had to go where he went, and then he had to survive a full lap and a half to win. But he was doing what he does best, and that's ride a time trial.
Alexander Edmondson was in second place, making it a 1-2 for the South Australians. And then Alistair Donoghue in third place. Let's not forget he's a paracyclist world champion. Tomorrow it's the final day, the elite men's road race. Cadell Evans, it's his final Australian championships. What can we expect?
A huge crowd to start with, because they'll all want to see Cadell ride his final National Road Series. On the other hand, will he win? I have a sneaking feeling he'll be a challenger in this race. It's wide open with the withdrawal of Simon Garrett, the defending champion, with his broken collarbone. Absolutely wide open. I'll just say Richie Port's got a good chance.
And if it comes down to a big battle between Richie Port and Cadell Evans on the final lap, it would be the fairy tale ending, perhaps for Evans. Join us live for all the action tomorrow.